Good morning, everybody. Hello. Feel free to say good morning as usual in the chat. We'll have more and more people arriving as the time goes on. We have Dinah on the chat today, so feel free to say hello to Dinah. She'll be here with any questions you may have. Cliff is not here today, as you might have noticed. Good morning, Mary, Sally, Simonetta. Carolyn, who else we got? Lisa, hello everyone. Joan, hello. Excellent. So we've got the last week this week of the Pericardium Channel, the Heart Protector Channel, and we'll be doing the point of the week. I've thought about doing the point of the week a slightly different way around, but I don't know, because it's nice when we go through all of the exercises and then we're a bit more sort of clear and we can really notice the point then. But then maybe it'll be interesting to do the point earlier without having done much warm-up and notice if we still feel something, and then go through all of the warm-ups and do the point again. So I thought that would be quite an interesting way of going about it. We shall see. Dinah's given us a thumbs up. Stephanie, you say good idea. Okay, well, we'll try that. We'll try that. First of all, I'm going to get us all to start off like I normally do, in like holding ourselves in a circle. I will explain it, Simonetta. No worries. And I'll start us off as normal with a nice big imagining the whole class together. We'll go through some scans and then we'll get started. Okay, so feel free to say hello if you're just arriving. Otherwise, come to standing or sitting if you want to stay sitting. That's also fine. Okay, and I would like you to close your eyes, bring your attention inside for a moment, and then just imagine being in a circle of everyone, and everyone who is in this group, and all the people who are live right now as well as watching in replay. We're all together in a class, so we have this feeling and this sense of being in a group together. There we all are. Thank you very much for coming, everyone. Okay, and you can bring your attention back to yourself and then to the top of your head. Okay, so we're just going to briefly go down like normal through the scan. So scanning down through the head, forehead, sides of the head, back of the head, your ears. How are your ears today? Your eyes and nose, sinuses, your jaw and cheeks and mouth, teeth, gums, tongue. And then scanning through the neck and the throat, back of the neck, sides of the neck. Any tension there? And how about across the tops of the shoulders? Down the arms. Let's go down the upper arms, the ligaments, joints, the sinews, muscles, through the elbow joint. If you need to move things a little bit, that's fine, do so. Through the forearms now. How are my forearms today? You can go through the wrists as well, much more intricate bones, tendons, ligaments. Through the hands and the fingers. How are my whole hands and arms today? And come back up to the shoulders and let's scan through the chest. We're going to be doing the Pericardium Channel, so get a really nice sense of the front of the chest, the sides of the chest, the upper back. How's the upper back doing? Between the shoulder blades. And how about inside your chest? Interesting. And come down a little bit inside the chest, and you've got your diaphragm, that sort of barrier between chest, breathing, and then into your top of your belly, into the digestion. So how's that diaphragm and into the digestion area? Interesting. Okay, through the ribs and the belly, scanning through the back, into the lower back, through the hips and the pelvis. How are your hips and pelvis today? And then the thighs, the longest part of the body, are the single bone, long muscles of the thigh, down to the knee, the largest joint in the body. And through the calf muscles, all the way to the ankles, and to the feet, and the toes, don't forget the toes, and the soles of the feet on the ground. Okay. And then just get a whole picture of the whole body, just a snapshot image, anywhere that you're drawn to. And then just spacing that out so it's a little less physical and a little more, how is my sense of myself? How's my own awareness today? My consciousness? Okay. And we're just going to go straight into observing the 3 burners. So you're welcome to bring your attention out for a moment if you like. But we're going to bring our attention to our lower burner first. And I'm sure you all know where the lower burner is, belly button to pubic bone. How is this lower portion? Feel inside. You can have a hand on the back if you want. What's it like inside? If you have an image, great. And then move up to the middle burner. Belly button to sort of bottom of the sternum or diaphragm. What's this area like? And is it any different from the lower burner? And then bring your awareness to the upper burner, the chest. Pardon me. Okay, how's my upper burner? And is it any different from the middle and from the lower? Okay, so for me, I noticed differences. I actually forgot to bring a piece of paper to draw it down with today. But if you have paper and pen, please do make a note. It's always very interesting to see how it is and how you feel by the end. Okay, I am going to find the poll for which burner do you want to work on most today. So it'll be very interesting to hear what we have. It's been a bit different week to week. And more and more of you are starting to put in with the poll. We have middle and upper fairly close together. Lower, not much going on. Got about half of you have polled. Okay, middle burner, a bit more now. Ooh, it's like a little race. Who's going to come out on top? Middle burner, upper burner, completely even at the moment. So fairly similar, middle to upper burner. Lower burner, not as many people wanting to work on it. But don't worry, we will be covering them all. I'll let that carry on, but it looks like it's fairly even all the way through. Morning to those who are just arriving. So what I wanted to do was try the point of the week without having done any previous exercises. So no exercises in clearing channels, in livening our awareness, in becoming clearer with our own Qi. Just trying a point, in a sense, trying a point cold, you know, just coming to it, having not done any extra warm-ups. Because this is how we may find it in our day-to-day life. It's like, oh, something's going on. Maybe I'll try one of these points. Thanks, Jane. Yeah. If it is too cold, I'll go stick it in the oven. So when we often day to day, we come to these points if we need them, and we haven't done 3/4 of an hour warm up in a class, you know. So so I want us to try and do this point. So I'm going to get the point up for you. We're going to go straight into point of the week, and we will come back to it later. So here we go. It's the final point on the channel. And do you remember I showed the slide? Here we go. There. So we've got the whole channel going out across the middle of the arm, all the way to the middle finger. And that final point is point 9, Pericardium 9, called Zongchong, central hub or middle rushing. Now, it could be called middle because this is all in the middle and you've got a yin channel above and below, so it's kind of the middle yin. But it's also called middle because when you come to the end of the finger, most of the points are by the bed of a nail, but this one is just in the middle of the end of your finger. Okay, it's kind of like if you were to try and feel for the end of the bone in your middle finger, that's where we would find it. And it says here, good for palpitations and loss of consciousness. Now, it is actually good for more than that. We've known, if you've been here for the last couple of classes, that the here and here, they're very good points for not only the chest and the heart and our awareness, but also for the digestion, liver and stomach stuff, feeling nauseous and things like that. And this can be true with this point, but it's more if you are, for instance, feverish and affected by heat and you've got vomiting with it, then this is a great point for that. And that's because of that channel affecting the diaphragm. Okay, enough information. I would like us to try and hold these points in 2 different ways. So if you would like to, take a moment, choose which finger you're going to start with, get your thumb on the end of one of them, and try and feel, and I'll go up close, try and feel for, which way around? Do it this way around. For the end of the bone. Try and feel on the end of the finger for the end of the bone. And it's almost like you are trying to kind of like you're pressing a button to wake you up, that loss of consciousness, to wake up that consciousness. And so if you sink weight in, give it a bit of a squeeze, it's almost like you're bringing energy out, bringing that lightness of the consciousness out. Notice how that feels. Okay. Let go of that for a moment. Shake off your hands. And then we're going to move to the other side. And the same again, but this time much more gently, rest your thumb on the point. It's just a restful hand, the weight of a resting the hand, just. And this time, tune in with your mind. Imagine going all the way along the channel in the middle into your heart space, into your sort of diaphragm, into this upper burner. So just let your mind wander and travel along the channel. Lovely, Ned. So noticing it sinking inwards. Okay, great. And I'd be interested, Ned, you've already given us an example. You felt there was a freer and deeper breathing when you press on it, which is fantastic. So I'm interested to know whether you noticed anything at all. And if you did, was there a difference from one side to the other? One side being the kind of waking up of the consciousness, the other side, the sort of sinking in and the calming down. So we can come to these points when we have a little bit of an idea of what to do or what it's for. So one of them, waking up, the other one, sinking in and calming down. Okay. Yes, also a clearer head and mind. In that case, let's take our clearer head and mind, the boosted on one side and the calm on the other side, and we'll start going through the 3 burning spaces. And we'll come back to this point later on. So if you want to, start bringing yourself up. Find a bit of space. If you can, hip to shoulder width apart with the feet. And just start off with a little bit of loosening and shaking. I'll bring the slides down. Sorry, always forget about that. There we go. Okay. So a little bit of loosening, bouncing, sort of just finding somewhere in the body that you want to start shaking. Maybe when you were scanning in at the beginning, you noticed an area that you were interested in. I've got something going on kind of upper back, especially around the left shoulder. So I'm just going to start with that. And if you've got something in the leg, you can be doing something like this. You can use a wall, whatever's right for you. Just start getting a bit of shaking in a certain area that's right for you. Don't forget to breathe, always helpful breathing. And then take the shaking more generally into the body. Don't forget the face, maybe. It's always nice. Just loosening everything off. Getting a bit of blood and a bit of qi moving around the body. Make sounds if you need to. It's very helpful when you get into it, although it might feel funny at first. Okay. And settle. And we'll start with the lower burner first. So just noticing how you're feeling right now. Maybe a little bit more movement around the body from loosening. Hold your lower burner between belly button and pubic bone. Doesn't matter which hand is in front, whatever's right for you. And just tune into it for a moment. Okay. Start doing some circles around the lower burner. And it's like you're warming the area up, or you're charging it with a bit of energy. Now, if you're feeling that it's a little bit like sluggish, you may want to imagine sort of energy from the hands pouring in and sort of starting to move around, warming things up in the lower burner area. And you may want to be quite kind of like, yes, let's build up some energy and get things moving, yeah. But if you're feeling a bit low and a bit weak, then think of it more like, rather than energy or light, you could think of it like a nourishing liquid, like a nice warm soup or some honey or something like that to kind of nourish and support and be slower. You may want to have one hand on the sacrum, just kind of supporting and warming. So if you're needing the lower burner strengthened gently, be gentle. If you're needing to kind of like clear it and get it, yeah, let's get some movement, then you know which way to go. Okay, I'm going to do more of this supporting, nourishing kind of quality. That's what I'm needing personally. Okay. Now we're just going to hold and do a couple of breaths. And again, it's like you're breathing in and then pouring the breath inside all the way through to the spine at the back. So breathing in. As you breathe out, breathe down through the arms, out through the hands, into the lower burner. May want a little bit more movement. Breathing in. All that energy from the air, breathing out. Into the lower burner. And again, last one. Heaven's Qi with the breath, breathing out, sending that into the lower burner. Okay. We're also going to do a bit of tapping. So tapping from, if you can reach the lower back, great, and the sacrum. If not, just start at the back of the legs, if you can get to the backs of the legs. And if you can't even get to the backs of the legs, then you just go around the sides. That's also fine, but imagine that you're nourishing and supporting, or you're clearing and moving bones and nerves or water. To the middle of the back of the leg, outside edge, and then that's the bladder. Now we're going to come up the kidney, squeeze and come up. And if you turn your feet out, I find that helpful because it's kind of on the inner corner. Okay, down the middle of the back. Up the inner of the back. The hips. One more time. Middle at the back, and then inner edge at the back. The hips. Okay. And now let's do a bit of kidney one. It's kind of like doing it the other way around. I'm trying a sort of doing a lot of this the other way around today. Just seeing if we still get the same benefits. So, I'll take this off so you can see a foot. There's a foot. And you can see I've got very clear kind of like the mark from the ball of the foot to the sort of white skin, which doesn't touch the ground. And we're getting into that just under the ball of the foot in the white skin. And just have a nice squeeze. The best thing, of course, is if you can get someone else to do this for you. And you, now that I'm sure all of you have done many of these classes, you'll be able to teach someone else exactly where to get kidney one in the sole of the foot. This 3 parts of the way down the foot. One third of the way down the foot. Here. Squeezing in. And then do a bit more of the foot in general. Just open up the foot in general, the sole of the foot. Now, my foot might look a bit dirty. This is actually my foot clean. It's just I do a lot of barefoot walking everywhere. So it's generally always looking a bit sort of coloured, a bit mucky footed. Okay, a bit more squeezing just to finish off on this foot. And for those who have been through the Shiatsu College before, you can also come to the extension for the heart protector, the pericardium, which is just above the heel of the foot. Ah, yummy, yummy, yummy. Okay, pop that sock back on and we'll do the other foot. We always spend a good bit of time on the lower burner and the kidney because, as has been said many times, it underpins everything. Our ancestral Qi is passed through the kidneys in the lower burner, and it is the most primary and initial quality of Qi that comes through to any one individual person's life. And then as we form, we start to get nourished. When we're in our mother's bellies, then it's from our mother. And then afterwards, it's from food. And then also, after we're born, we breathe the air. And this is the final part that we get energy from. So the lower burner is our ancestral Qi that comes through the parents. The middle burner is the earth Qi that comes through the food. And then the upper burner is from the air we breathe and the heavens Qi. There we go. Okay, once you've squeezed your kidney 1 area, do a general kind of squeeze about of the feet, get them nice and opened. This yin area on the body, maybe that just above the heel area for people who know the extension. Anyone really, you can all do that. But I like slapping, but you can do a fist if you want to knock it about a bit more and get more energy invigorated. Okay. Get the sock back on so I'm not one-socked. There we go. I'll put the chair away again. Out of sight. Okay, now let's try standing. As we're done all that work on the lower burner already, down the legs, let's just take a moment to settle, standing, feeling that open kidney 1 on the ground, feeling that connection from the ground through to the lower burner, and then noticing now, how is our lower burner doing at the moment? How is that? Okay, does it feel, does it seem any different from before when we first tuned into them when we were scanning at the beginning? So just notice, how is it before? And then how is it now? Okay. Maybe a subtle difference, maybe a very obvious difference. Okay, now we can move on to the middle burner. For me, if I was going to be doing the poll earlier, I probably would have said middle burner. I think I can feel mine's a little bit congested. Wow, I can't get words out today. That can be a heart protector thing in itself, the pericardium quality in itself, because the heart and the pericardium, but especially the heart, is said to open into the tongue. So when we get a bit tongue-tied, that's the heart energy not able to clearly move. So let's find, we've got the belly button, and then we've got the sternum. Let's just hold our middle burner for a moment and check in. Now, we scanned earlier. What was the middle burner like earlier at the beginning? And now what is the middle burner like after we've done a little bit of work lower down in the body and opened things up and supported things in the lower burner? Has that shifted the middle burner at all? Okay. Okay, so for me it does seem a little bit shifted. But let's carry on working. First things first, find your belly button. Bring both hands over. And we're going to do a similar thing to we did here with these circles. But we're going to do big circles for the whole of the digestive system. So have a sense of energy or warmth, light or nourishing liquid pouring in from your hands into your belly, into your digestive organs, and into your stomach, spleen, energy quality. Okay. Yeah, just say to yourself, yum, yum. Just that sound. Okay, and then we're going to do circles this way, and it's coming up on the right side of you and then going down on the left side of you, because that follows your intestines. Okay, so all the way around. This is just under my ribs. This is just on top of my pelvic bone. So you're doing the whole of the belly. And it's nourishing all of the things that are involved in the digestive process. All of the organs involved, your liver and gallbladder, as well as your stomach, your spleen, pancreas, small intestine, large intestine. Pardon me, getting my digestion going already. Okay, and you can take this a little bit quicker. So it's generating a bit of energy, strengthening the energy or clearing some blockages, toning up the energy of the digestive system. I feel that probably all of us need a bit of that. Okay. Now, traditionally, this would be done 81 times, but we shall just imagine we're still going, warming, nourishing, moving. 81 is 9 times 9, and in numerology in China, 9 is the most yang number. So it's very yang moving. Okay, and then start to slow down. And then start to let it settle. And any micro movements that are left, just naturally let them find their own time, settling smaller and smaller and smaller, more inside, more internal, until you come to more of a sense of stillness in your center, and whatever movement is buzzing around outside of that is just that. Nice. Okay. Now we're going to do a little bit of tapping. So like we did with the going down the bladder and up the kidney, we're going to go down the stomach, which is front of the leg, but just on the outside sort of line of the front. And then we're going to come up the spleen, which is just on the front, but also slightly inside the front. Okay, so starting at the belly, tapping either side, moving out to the outer edge. If you need to go over somewhere again a little bit, there we go. This is stomach 36, most tonifying point for all Qi in the body. Tops of the feet, inside of the feet, front, inner front. This is the spleen. Come straight up to the belly again, and back down. And up the spleen, and down the stomach last time. Really opening the channel, getting the Qi open and moving through the channel. Okay. Just maybe straight. There we go. Settle for a moment. There may be some buzziness from all of that movement. Maybe you're even feeling a little more grounded or a little more centered in yourself. or embodied physically. Who knows? I'm getting a sense of that. Okay, we're going to do a little bit more. I'm still feeling a bit of tension personally in the sort of upper middle burner, the upper part of the middle burner. And so we can do a little bit of movement for the liver and gallbladder, which likes smooth flow. Okay, so I'd like you to feet preferably shoulder width apart. So it's not just like this, but trying to have them a bit wider so you've got a nice stable ground. Facing forwards. And then the knees stay over the feet. Yeah, so we don't drop the knees like this. It's the hips that are turning. So just slowly start your hips turning and let the rest of the body just sit over the top of the hips. Okay. You just got your head gently floating up, spine just relaxedly hanging down. And now you can start to make that turn a little bit stronger and let the arms and the rest of the body kind of spin around that kind of central axis. I'm going to have to move forwards so that I don't hit the wall because I've got really long arms. Okay. Now, the more you can relax your hips as you turn them, the better. And you're just kind of letting your body twist around naturally without forcing it. It's the turning kind of like comes from this lower part of your body and you let everything else unflop. You're not kind of flopping like this. You're staying in your center, but you're just letting everything relax around that center. I remember Shakura saying once, imagine that your spine is like a towel and you're just twisting that towel to get the moisture out of it. You can just see where your arms want to go to, or maybe you even want to direct them somewhere, so you can kind of like naturally kind of knock a little bit of stuckness out of you, if you've got some stuckness. If you want to take this a little bit easier, then just turn the hips only to the corner and just do it nice and softly, and maybe just come up a little bit and then sink down a bit. If you're wanting to take this nice and calmly and have it more as a building exercise, building it up, settling it down, building it up, settling it down. But if you've got more clearing that you need to do, well then, a nice strong movement with the hips and the pelvis, and then let everything just whiff around. Okay. Last couple. Both sides. And then let it start to settle. But naturally, don't just stop, just let the movement come to its own conclusion. You're just there for the ride. You're just watching it slowly finish, like you've literally been on a ride and you're just waiting for it to eventually just stop. And then you can go, okay. Let's shake off a little. I'll move back so you can see me a bit more again. And now we've done a really nice workout for stomach and spleen, and we've started to do a good twisting for the liver and the gallbladder. So we'll just do a little bit of tapping for the liver and the gallbladder as well. And this we can start just on the upper edges of the hip. You can use a nice loose fist if you like. So I'm not right on my buttocks, I'm more on the edge of the hip where it's often a bit tight and a bit sore. I mean, it is in me anyway. I'm guessing it might be with you. Who knows? So come down the sides of the legs. we're going down the outer aspect, and then we're coming up on the inner side, the inside of the leg, to the hips. And then outer hip, outside of the leg, gallbladder, inner, inside, inner hip, liver. Last time. Okay. Right. And let's just settle for a moment. And we can do another quick check-in. That middle burner space. How's that feeling right now? And what was it like right at the beginning? And then we checked again just before doing some movement. And how is it right now? Maybe you remember all of those, maybe you don't. If you don't, then just notice how it is right now. Pardon me, that's got my digestion going. And then how's that lower burner doing still? Still got some of that lovely good work that we did? Still got some of it for me. There's still some of, not all, it wasn't as full as it was after we'd first done it, so maybe we'll just come back to something at the end. The middle burner's definitely feeling a lot freer for me now. Okay, so we'll come to the upper burner. So, the upper burner, as we know, as I've said, and Cliff has said many times, the lungs in the upper burner are the things that bring Qi in from outside, and that's when we breathe in the heavens Qi into the body. And some of that descends down to the kidneys in the lower burner to help start the whole process again. And some of it just collects with the heart and the blood in the heart and the energy that has been coming up from kidney to spleen to heart and lungs. This can then be spread out around the body. So it's really nice to spend a moment with the upper burner and just get a sense of that lovely broad sort of like Qi of the chest. So notice how the upper burner is inside at the moment. Just notice what it's like in there at the moment. Okay. So let's start with the pericardium, and then we'll come back to that point of the week after we've done all the other stuff in the upper burner. How's about that? That feels right to me. So we'll start with the pericardium because that does relate to the diaphragm, which is like our boundary between middle burner and upper burner, and will relate to both upper and middle, which is why when we do pericardium work, we can have an effect with the digestion as well as the feeling in the chest. So remember the stretch where we lean forwards like we're diving, breathing in, and then as we breathe out, we open our arms out and we let the middle fingers just lead back a little bit. Okay, so breathing in and breathing out, open, open, open. Let the middle fingers sort of lead you back a bit. And then let it go. Ooh, nice. Okay. Lean forwards, breathe in. And back and out. Ooh, okay. And forwards. And out. Let the middle finger lead you back, open out the middle of the arms and the chest. All the way out. There we go. Lovely. Okay. Noticing what's that like? So that gives me a little bit of a stretch across the middle and the sternum, but also I feel like that's opened my diaphragm a little bit, which is great. Now we have the lung stretch. And there's this one where we bring our hands together in a prayer position. We lift them up over our head. We breathe in, and as we breathe out, we just try to let them drop down, and we open the armpits, open the elbows out. Now, if this is too much for your shoulder, what you can do is hold your hands in a prayer position in front of you. Let them stretch, just gently stretch forwards like this, but not dipping, but trying to keep the hands up and keep the elbows up as well. So it's keeping the elbows up, let your body just gently drop. So if the shoulder's too much to do this one, it's a very gentle stretch like this, and lift the elbows. Not the shoulders, but lift the elbows. And you'll feel the stretch kind of under here. Okay, so whichever way around you want to try it, give it a go. So hands in prayer position in front of you. And then breathing in, lifting up. And breathing out, either let your hands drop behind you with the elbows out, or drop forwards with the elbows lifting high. Okay, and come forwards again. My shoulders are a bit tight, so I've got to take a moment. Sorry, everyone. Okay. Prayer position in front. Breathing in. Breathing out. Either let the hands drop behind you or lean in front. Elbows high. And come up and down. And the last one, prayer position in front, elbows up a little. Breathe in and out. Elbows nice and open. Feel the stretch in the armpit and the underside of the arm. And out. Okay, a little bit of a shake off. I noticed that like a kind of much more of like a openness and movement in the middle of my chest now. So then at the very top of it all are the lungs. So we're going to do like a kind of a yawning kind of stretch. Okay? What time are we at? Okay, we're all right, we're okay. So we're going to do a kind of like a yawning stretch. So breathing in, up. If you can turn it into a yawn, great. Let it drop back. If you want to accentuate it, you can point your index finger and your thumb for the lung and the large intestine. Okay, breathing in, stretching up. A point, and then out and let them drop. Make it like a sigh. Okay. And last time, breathing in, stretching out. As easy as your shoulders can go with it. Okay. And now we're going to do a little bit of tapping, but only down the pericardium channel. So you can be just to the outer edge of the breast, coming up the edge. If you want to, we can start from the sternum and we can tap, and it's sort of like in line with your third rib space, third intercostal space. So if it's not too tender, actually mine is quite tender today, you can tap out to then the edge of the pectoral muscle, up to the shoulder, down the middle of the arm. This is all the pericardium or heart protector. Turn your hand over, come up from the third finger, often called the ring finger, and you're in then the middle of the back of the arm, middle of the forearm, middle of the upper arm, middle of the back of the shoulder, and then middle of the chest, Middle, middle, middle. Zong Chong, the point is called middle rushing or central hub. Last time. I just needed to let out a little sigh with that. And don't be too hard. Don't tap it too hard. Don't be too vigorous. It's like, this is a quality that surrounds the heart. It surrounds your very sort of like core. It's about vulnerability as well as protection. And needs must, we have a certain degree of vulnerability. You know, that's part of being alive. It's part of having empathy, which really is our first language. Okay. And just notice one side to the other after doing the tapping. We've done lots of stretching and breathing. It's all lovely, but yeah, a bit of difference in the one we've tapped. So let's do the other side, from sternum out to the edge of the pectoral muscle. And it's about a hand width down generally, but you'll see how you go. It's like 3 intercostal spaces, 3 rib spaces down. Not so tender for me on this side, thankfully. And then through the middle of the arm, through your what? Through the middle of the hand, middle finger, turn round, third finger or ring finger, middle of the back of the forearm, middle of the back of the arm, middle of the back of your shoulder, and then back round you. Tapping, 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 yum, 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 yum. And another sigh for this one. It's good. Never underestimate a good sigh. It's incredibly nice. Okay. Stroking. Okay. Now just notice how both arms are. Hopefully for you all, a little bit more even. And we're running out of time, but let's just briefly check in again with our point of the week. I'll quickly get the slide up so we can see exactly where it is again. There you see it, right at the end of the middle, the tip of the middle finger. So now we've done lots of opening work, we've done lots of clearing work, we're feeling a bit more balanced. Let's just bring our attention to one side. And again, it's like feeling for the end of the bone almost in the middle of the middle finger. And just let the weight of your hand just sit on it. And notice with a sense of connecting to the point and connecting to the energy sort of like waking up and opening up, that sort of outward, more yang movement, and just noticing what that is like. Notice if any parts of your body go, ooh, yes, please. So yeah, I got a bit here, but then I got a bit in my lower back. That's interesting. Okay, now let's try the other side again. So then the other side, same thing. We're just going to hold the point. Let the weight of the thumb that's connecting to it is just, as you can see, I've got a thumb connecting to it like that. I'm just letting the weight just relax like that. So it's like the weight of my arm and hand just gently presses into the point. And you can, you know, if you've got a lap, you can rest your hand on your lap or on the desk. I'm just trying to hold it in midair so you can see it. But this time we're going to relaxedly sink into the channel, sink in with the mind. Just let it wander in through the channel into the body. Just sinking in. More yin. What's that like? And any parts of the body that go, yes, lovely, thank you. Okay, so again here, but with more of a and then into the belly going, oh, yum, oh, Yummy. That was kind of my response on this side. So we can use a point when we've done lots of, energy work and we really notice it. But at the beginning, we worked the point and we hadn't done loads of warming up and loads of awareness stuff and loads of energy work. And yet most people seemed to still be getting a sense of the point. So these are great points that we show you, and they really can have effective uses. And as it says here, you can use it for palpitations when you're really like, clamorous inside of your chest, or if there's anything going on where the heart is going really, too quick. It can be used for calming, and I would suggest more of that sinking in quality. But it can also be used for a loss of consciousness, to wake them up. Now, it can be especially useful if there's loss of consciousness with things like fever or febrile disease in children, where they may have sort of almost semi-fever seizure type things. You can also have with just summer heat, way too much summer heat, and people are a bit kind of like all floppy, and especially if there's nauseousness. Thank you, Ned. Very profound sense of calm energy expanding out into the whole body. That is lovely. And thank you very much, Basti and Dinah, from a rare window with some late summer sunshine. Beautiful. Now, we will just close up. We've got a few minutes. So let's just come back up to standing if you're not already standing. Let me drop this. One day I will remember to get rid of the slides before going into an exercise. Okay, so we'll just finish up. Just a couple of nice breaths. And as you breathe in, let your arms float up. As you breathe out, let your arms float down. You can let your body sink down or stand up, whichever you prefer. I prefer standing and raising up, breathing in, and then breathing out. And you can let yourself float up and float down. And then really feel the ground and push into the ground and let everything slowly get pushed up, and then slowly sink yourself down onto the ground. Excellent. One more time. Push into the ground and then slowly sink down to the ground. Okay. And then before we finish up, just imagine everyone in the class again, that lovely big circle of people that you're part of. Have a lovely sense of thanks for each other. Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much. It's such a beautiful feeling to be in this group with all of you. And a thanks for the class still running, which also thanks to you all, because you all helped this class to stay running. Absolutely wonderful doing another class with you, everyone. Thank you very much. Have yourselves a wonderful rest of your day. I'm going to put a little heart in here. Whee! And maybe one of these as well. Hooray! Thank you all for coming. Thank you all for taking part. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. And I just for a quick moment want to say hooray. I've made it less than an hour. It's possibly the first time ever. Timing will work. So enjoy the rest of your day, everyone. And we'll see you soon. Cheerio for now.